No. That I did try to call the secretary to get us both back in, and when that lady called, she just messed up everything. So we're both stuck.
Shoot. Who is this?
This is Janelle McCann. I'm the mother's attorney. I'm supposed to be in there, and you're supposed to be in there.
Yeah, what the heck? Okay.
Oh, boy.
Shoot. Should we call back or just wait?
You know what? I emailed to two of the people that are in the hearing to tell them, that we're trapped here, and I haven't heard any response. They're probably not looking at their emails because they're in the courtroom. That's great.
But they know that we're supposed to be there, and we were just there. So,
yeah. Well, it's placement and myself are some idiot called in and was disrupting. Hello?
Janelle, hi, this is Danya. I'm the dad's attorney. Are we still not in the courtroom? I hung up and tried to call back.
Because he's, somebody called in and tried to disrupt the hearing. Judge ordered. Yeah, and so we're trying to get in, but we're not connected to the courtroom, and it's me in placement, and now you.
Yeah, I mean, the only way to shut that person off if they refuse to hang up is to close the phone line. I'm going to try calling, is it Clarissa?
I tried calling Clarissa, and Debbie put it on voicemail, because Debbie was answering earlier. So,
okay.
And then I tried to call the direct courtroom that goes to the clerk's desk, and because I think they're thinking that whoever that idiot was is going to call back.
Well, she will. That's what I'm saying. The only way to keep her from calling back is to shut down that conference line. But if they do that, I don't think even calling Debbie and she can't even conference us in if that line's closed. So I don't know what we're going to do.
Yeah, well, he's got to know he's missing you, he's missing me, and he's missing placement. So at some point, somebody's got to come looking for us.
Yeah. You can't just hang up on one person. It's an open conference line, So
yeah.
All right. Well, let me know if you hear anything.
Well, I'm going to try on my other phone to see if I can't get a hold of just, okay, you guys, process of deduction, you're missing 3 important people here. And none of us were being disruptive. We were all obeying and behaving.
I'm the dad's attorney. I don't know if I even have to be here, but I figured I'd call in. So now I'm
Debbie, this is Janelle. Me, Donna, and placement are trapped in some sort of netherworld because they had to hang up on an obnoxious caller, and we sort of got locked out. And do you want us to call your number, the 3300 number, and get back in? Because we tried the 3314, and they don't know. Yeah. Okay. Okay, and I'll tell Danya and placement to hang on here. Maybe they can just patch us back in. Okay, all right. Thank you. I'm staying on. Okay, Danya and placement, are you still there, guys?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I finally got a hold of Debbie, but she's not even in communication with the courtroom, so she's going to physically walk over there and see what's wrong.
Okay.
What? Judge was earlier talking about not losing your cool, and
my mom just tried to call me. She is there in the courtroom, so I just texted her to tell her that we are in limbo right now.
Yeah. We're in some sort of...
I don't know where we're at.
Well, did that lady's voice sound familiar to you? Because it kind of did to me, and I don't want to say who I think it was.
Well, I have no idea. I mean, if she's saying she's a friend of Lacey's and the kids, I have never heard of her. I'm her sister. I'm Lacey's sister. So,
Okay.
but with that being said, I haven't really, I'm not really in contact with my sister very much.
Okay, I think we're back in.
Okay.
Could everybody hang up, please, so I can go ahead and connect the phone lines to the court?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
Up
you.
and then call the same number.
Everybody hangs up. Give me 1 minute, and then you can call back in, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Here we go.
Okay. Oh, I tried telling her, she didn't answer her phone, but I told her what was going
Ms. McCann, are you back with us?
Should I tell her to?
Ms. Argenbright, are you back with us?
Okay.
Haven't heard any beeps, so probably nobody's there yet.
Martina, they call into the same number? They call
Hello?
the lawyers and everybody call into the same number to call.
Hey, did you hang up? That we're trying to figure this out in the courtroom.
Well, we don't have anybody on the line.
Yeah, I was just about to walk out. Yeah, no, I'm in the courtroom. I just saw that you were calling in. I'm just trying to. Right, I get that.
Judge,
Yes, Miss Debbie,
I have placement. Miss Stoker transferring now.
thank you. Who are you talking to, Ms. DuPont?
Sorry, my attorney.
Okay, good.
So she's hanging up and calling in right now.
Excellent, thank you. Somebody communicate with Miss Argenbright that she can call back in?
Judge,
Yes,
transfer Miss McCann.
excellent, thank you, Miss Debbie.
I can send an email, Judge. I got everyone's phone numbers from Hasleen, but I haven't put them in my phone.
Thank you. Ms. McCann, welcome back.
Yes, I'm back here, and I think Mother has now arrived within the courtroom there.
She is here. She has been here. We had a person call in who was patched through without prior permission, and she refused to hang up her end of the phone when I told her that this dependency adjudication trial would be closed to the public, which was consistent with all of our previous hearings. She simply refused to hang up, calling from the state of Oregon. She would not identify herself other than her name, and she was a friend of the family.
Yeah, I was aware of that, but now that we are in place,
Ms. Argenbright?
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent, excellent. I think we have everybody that we need. Let me start. Announce the case. It's a dependency time set for the dependency adjudication hearing in JD 2022-00062, entitled in the matter of Ava and Brody DuPont, minor children. Present with us in court this morning, Assistant Attorney General Ms. Troop, welcome. Mr. Carbajal, DCS Ongoing Case Specialist, welcome. Ms. Miller, DCS Investigator, good morning, welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Brown, attorney for both children, is present with us in court. Good morning, sir. Welcome. Placement for Brody, Mr. and Mrs. are with us. Good morning, welcome, and thank you both. Ms. Brown, present with us. Good morning, of course. I have a name, Terrell Andrews. Is that you? I did not recognize. I recognize you, but I did not recognize the name. And your family members, great grandmother and grandmother. Excellent. Both of you on mother's side of the family tree, right?
And they've both been at the prior hearing.
I recognize them, yes. And on the telephone, we have Miss McCann, attorney for mother. Good morning again, Miss McCann. Welcome.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Ms. Argenbright, attorney for father, is on the phone. Good morning. Welcome, Ms. Argenbright.
Thank you.
And placement for Ava is on the phone again, and she's mother's sister.
Yes, good morning.
And welcome.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else on the phone that has not been identified, please? I may have jumped the gun a bit, but I presumed, consistent with prior hearings, one or more of counsel would ask to keep this case closed to the public for the same reasons that's previously stated and granted.
Yes, but Brody had requested that. Ava did not have a problem with it being open to the public.
And the DCS wants the case closed. And Ms. McCann, do you have a position on that?
I feel, Your Honor, especially in light of the disruption we had this morning, that we better keep it closed.
Thank you. Ms. Argenbright, any position on that?
No position.
Thank you. Pursuant to ARS Section 8-525, and because of the privacy interests and the requests of the Assistant Attorney General and Counsel for Brody, as well as Sister Ava, but specifically because of Brody's request, it is the order of the court closing this hearing to the public. The court has caused to be posted an admonition, a warning, a heads up, if you will, informing all attendees, whether by phone or in person, that you may not disclose any identifying information about Ava or Brody, any other siblings, parents, guardians, caregivers, or any other individuals identified in this proceeding. That includes a ban on posting on social media or the internet regarding this matter. In the posted notice, which has been attached to both sides of our courtroom doors, all attendees are further advised of the consequences, the outcomes, if you will, for violating this court order, in itself a finding of contempt of court. Contempt of court in this setting carries with it a possible fine, term of incarceration or both. Ms. Miller, good morning again. ICWA.
No, Your Honor.
The Indian Child Welfare Act does not apply. Thank you. Ms. McCann, how should we proceed this morning, given our preliminary information?
Your Honor, I am going to leave it to Mother what her election is. We spoke about a no contest plea possibility, being that her parental rights are not terminated. However, she's not admitting or denying anything, but given the practicalities and the realities of where we stand in this case, that it's likely that the court would find a dependency, so she's just basically standing on her Fifth Amendment. That's up to her. However, if she wants her trial, today's the day. I've done trials by phone. Nobody likes it, but it's done. We can do that right here and right now. So really, it is up to her, and I respect her decision, whatever it is.
I'm not prepared for a trial, like I said in my messages to you, but because we haven't even spoken about anything yet. So I kind of feel like I would like a trial, but we don't even have any. We haven't spoken. You're not very aware of everything that's happened so far since you're new. So, and there's no continuance allowed, I'm assuming. I mean, not that I want to keep this going, but I don't feel like
I cannot take a no contest plea if you've had any drugs, alcohol, or medication in the last 24 hours. And Ms. DuPont, your behavior suggests that you are currently under the influence of something. So we'll have a trial.
Okay, well, I mean, I would like to say for the record that I'm not, or I haven't. This is a stressful situation, and I feel like I haven't been able to talk to my attorney about anything. I haven't been able to prepare for a trial, so.
That's not what Ms. McCann shared with us prior to your late arrival.
Oh, okay. Not sure what she said, but
I can ask her to repeat what she shared with us before your late arrival.
Okay, yes, I said again, I'm sorry that I was late. I didn't plan on truck problems.
Your Honor, we have spoken on at least, let me go back through my log here, but we did speak this week on what a trial would likely show and the pieces of evidence missing that we would need to show for a trial. I have a legal call on 111, legal call on 19, a attempted legal call on 16, 1222, 1125, 1123, 1121. So I think of this time we've probably spoken maybe 3 times, and I've had several attempted legal calls with my client. I thought that she was aware of what a no contest would mean. However, if the court is uncomfortable taking one because of what the court is physically observing there, then we have to do a trial. We cannot continue. There is no legal basis. I can assume for continuing.
I don't know that your laptop is turned off, Ms. DuPont. You see that sign in front of you on the jury box?
Yeah, it's not on.
What does that sign say in front of you on the jury box? In the corner right there.
No electronics are allowed on in the courtroom. Mine is not on.
Yeah, but I have reason to distrust you.
Okay.
That
Would you
needs
like
to go out in your truck or automobile.
I'm sorry, what?
It needs to be removed from the courtroom.
Okay. I don't have a vehicle here now since my ride
However,
left.
it needs to be removed from the courtroom.
Okay.
We will wait for you.
Okay.
Could you print me a copy of the allegations? Small and then a minute petition. Thank you. Ms. Dupont? Well, with respect to whether you have, I guess the correct word is ingested any drugs, alcohol, or medication in the last 24 hours, I will defer to other people who may know you better than I have for their observations if they wish to offer them. And if you wish to enter a no contest plea, the choice is yours.
So no contest would, I just don't feel comfortable doing a no contest because that.
The choice is yours. There's no pressure. We can do the trial.
I would rather see that the trial just so we have a clear record.
Yes,
Understood.
I think that's the best way.
Understood.
Judge, could I just say one thing with regard to the record for, I guess, appellate purposes regarding the trial? Mother has stated that she hasn't had time to prepare with her attorney and her attorney hasn't spoken with her. This is her second attorney. She raised similar allegations that her attorney wasn't effectively representing her before, and she's trying to raise the same things. It was my view that that first attempt was, or that first claim was really sort of delaying moving this case forward, and so I think the record should reflect that this is her second go-round with attorneys, and she's making similar allegations. I know Ms. McMahon is well experienced and very compassionate and diligent in doing her work, and I'm sure she has done all she can, given the level of cooperation her client is giving her to prepare for this trial.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. The saying in the legal world that Ms. Dupont, justice delayed is justice denied. And you've heard me say, I know the attorneys have caseworkers. Babies can't wait for parents to make better decisions. We have very strict, speedy trial timelines to adjudicate these dependencies for a very good reason. And that's because babies can't wait. And any attempts to delay this without good cause is not a good decision. We want you to parent your children. You've heard us all say that pretty much at every hearing. Mr. Brown has practically begged you on behalf of your children. Yet we face this prospect that you have presented again this morning. You showed up late, and we waited for you, which is no problem. You're now accusing your second attorney of not adequately preparing you for trial, which she says she has. You're in effect indirectly suggesting that she cannot properly represent you for lack of preparation. All the while, pretty much at every hearing, you have left one or more of us with the impression that you're under the influence of something. And perhaps you are not this morning, but that's my observation. I don't know what your end game is, but it's not parenting your children. I have discussed with you before that you get to make choices in this proceeding. And in that way, you are in control of the direction, the pace of this case. Make better decisions resulting in better behaviors. Increase the likelihood of parenting your children. Don't make better decisions. Don't demonstrate better behaviors. Don't parent your children. You get to choose. And so far, I don't know that you've made any good decisions in this courtroom. You see what your choices, what the outcomes of your choices are? Are they pretty clear to you? Just a yes or a no is fine.
Yes.
Is that the outcome that you want, not parenting your children?
No, it's not.
Then you need to make better decisions. The first one would be, in order to be present to participate, is get clean and stay clean. I'm not here to punish you for your past mistakes. You've heard me say that a number of times. And yet each time you've come to court, be honest with yourself. Each time you've come to court, you've left me at a minimum with the impression that you're under the influence of something. You've left others with that impression before. Maybe they don't have that impression this morning. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's my impression. And I remember the last time we were together, last week, I believe.
Monday.
Thank you. I've been around people who are under the influence. I'm 65 years of age. I have some life experience, professionally and personally. I have a pretty good sense of when people are in altered states. And I know that no one makes consistently good decisions when they're under the influence. That's why it's against the law to drink and drive, to smoke and drive, to be under the influence. You have not demonstrated to date that you're being honest with yourself. Your choice, but you have to take the outcomes of your choices. Don't get clean, don't stay clean, don't parent your children. Every day that goes by that you're not being honest with yourself is a day lost for you to make behavioral changes. How many days do you think you have left to demonstrate substantial or significant engagement in making better decisions? If you don't know, that's a shame.
You told me it would be 1 year, the first hearing.
360 days maximum from the date of the children's removal from your care.
September 11th.
September, yeah.
Thank you. This is January 12th. 8 months left. Maybe that's enough time if you started today making better decisions. Maybe it's not enough. Everyone has their own timelines. The first thing you have to do is change your attitude and be honest with yourself. I need help. I want help. I will accept help. And then you accept the help, which at this juncture I would think at a minimum consideration is inpatient.
Inpatient treatment.
Right? I would leave that to the department ultimately, but based upon my experience, what I know from training, depending on what the substance or substances are, the longer the treatment, generally the better. I'm not here to criticize you. I'm not here to punish you. I'm trying to talk straight with you. Do this, you parent your children. Do that, you don't parent your children. And I don't think that message is getting through to you, despite your saying, I understand. Because what you're doing to date is not going to result in you parenting your children. Why else would you be here but for wanting to parent your children? Why would you sit through all of this direct talk, compassionate, empathetic, but very direct? Why else would you sit through that time and time again? Nobody gets to fool the system for very long. The ones that fool us, they come back to us because ultimately they're only fooling themselves. They relapse. We haven't had one case in the last 4 years that I've been doing this calendar that has been successful in fooling us permanently. They relapse and something gets communicated to the system and they're back. And the only reason they fooled us for a short time is they got clean for a short time. Do you know what the burden of proof on the state is to prove its case?
1%.
Not even that. 50.1 to 49.9, more likely than not, more probable than not. A preponderance of the evidence, 50.1 to 49.9. Ms. Troop, wave opening?
Yes.
Mr. Brown, wave opening?
Yes.
Ms. McCann, wave opening?
Yes, Your Honor.
I don't know that Ms. Arganbright would have any opening, but there's no harm in asking.
Your Honor, I'm listening. I'm not really an active participant because I haven't had any contact with Mr. DuPont.
Very good. Thank you. First witness, Ms. Troop?
Yes, I just had a couple of preliminary matters.
Yes, please, of course.
I would ask to strike a sentence that is on page 6
Of the dependency
of the
petition?
dependency petition, line 9.
During the team decision-making meeting?
I would ask to strike that whole sentence.
Anybody have an objection to that?
No.
No objection, concur, Your Honor.
Line 9, page 6 of the dependency petition as alleged against mother is stricken, starting with during the team decision-making meeting and ending with in front of a house.
And I'd also ask to administer this one to him.
Stipulate to the admission, Your Honor.
States Exhibit 1 through 10 are admitted. Thank you, counsel.
I'd call Cheryl Brown to stand as an examiner.
Ma'am, if you come forward a little bit and raise your right hand. That's as best as you can do. Don't worry.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Thank you. Sorry for that inconvenience. I invite you to make yourself comfortable over here in the witness stand. Thank you, Mr. Bailiff. Ms. Brown, have you ever testified in court before?
No.
All right. I have a primer for you, if you will. It is a very simple process. Questions from the lawyers and answers from you if you know the answer. If you don't know the answer, that's the answer. I don't know. We just want to know what you know. If you have to guess, then you don't really know. There's nothing wrong with saying I don't know. If you hear a question and you don't understand it, ask the lawyer, could you please rephrase that? No, nothing wrong with that. If you don't understand or if you don't hear the question, certainly say, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Could you repeat that? It's important let the lawyers finish asking their questions before you attempt to answer. And I would suggest to you it's even better for us that are answering if we give it a 1, 2, 3 count before we attempt to answer. That way you have time to think and formulate your answer if you have one. If you hear the word objection while you are answering or before you answer a question, don't answer so we can deal with the objection. Fair enough? You have to answer out loud.
Yes.
Okay, we record these proceedings for our official record. You're nodding your head.
No.
Right. Ms. Troop, please.
Thank you. And I realize I'm coughing, so I'd like to reassure everyone I've had this cold since the day after Christmas. It's just gone down to my lungs here, but I have tested for COVID 7 times, including yesterday, and I'm negative. So I don't think I'm getting anyone sick here. I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable.
Thank you.
Please state your name for the record.
Cheryl Ann Brown.
Lacey DuPont, your daughter.
Yes.
What are the names of your grandchildren who are late?
Chase Short, Gavin Short, Ava DuPont, and Brody DuPont.
Are Chase and Gavin under age 18 or over age 18?
Chase is over 18. Gavin is 17.
And were those two children, Chase and Gavin, raised by their father over the last few years?
Yes.
Where do you live?
Mesa, Arizona.
And do you live by yourself or with anyone else?
By myself.
Did Ava live with you from approximately February 17th of 2022 until sometime in the summer, this summer of 2022?
Yes.
How did Ava come to live with you?
I came to Whetstone, and I came to help her mom, the family, move to a new place, and asked, how can I help? And Lacey said the best way I could help would be to take the children away from her for a few days so she could just get to it. And so Ava went with me.
I'm sorry, meaning she could pack things faster.
She could pack things faster.
So Ava went home with you.
Yes.
And how long did you expect Ava to be with you?
Just for the long weekend.
That was President's Day weekend?
Yes.
Did Brody go home with you?
No.
Why not?
He didn't want to go to Mesa. He wanted to go to Wolfram's house with his friends.
Why did Ava continue to live with you from February of 2022 until the summer of 2020?
She wanted to go to school in Mesa and play volleyball.
Did you have any problems enrolling Ava in school?
Yes.
What were those problems?
I didn't have guardianship of Ava, and Lacey seemed reluctant to send me information or to get her enrolled over the phone.
How could Lacey have enrolled Ava in school over the phone?
How what?
How could she have enrolled Ava in school over the phone?
By talking to the admissions people, and they would fax her or email her the information, and she would email or fax, return it.
Or to you to get to the school.
Correct.
How many times from February till the summer did you either text or call or email your daughter asking her to fill out the paperwork so you could enroll Ava in school?
I don't know how many times, but it was many times.
Did you ever text her a link she could get onto to fill out the right paperwork?
Yes.
Was Lacey in favor of Ava staying with you and being in school in Mesa?
I don't know if she was in favor of it, but she allowed it because Ava wanted to stay and go to school there. So she was just appeasing her daughter.
Were you able to enroll Ava in school in March of 2022?
Yes,
So she was out of school for a few weeks.
6 weeks.
How were you able to enroll her in school?
Through the McKinney-Vento program.
How did you know about the McKinney-Vento?
I used to work for the school district, and I was familiar with it through me working and dealing with McKinney-Vento students.
During the time that Ava lived with you, did Lacey ever give you a power of attorney, guardianship, any authorization to have Ava living in your home?
No.
Was that a problem?
Yes, I worried about if Ava became ill enough to go to the doctor or to the hospital. What was I going to do? I'm retired, so I don't have a big budget. And it just was a concern in case it happened.
Do you know whether or not Lacey had Ava enrolled in Access?
Say that question again, I'm
Do
sorry.
you know whether Lacey had Ava enrolled in Access?
She told me she was.
Lacey told you.
Lacey told me she was.
Did you ever ask Lacey to send you Ava's Access card?
Yes.
Take her to the doctor. How many times do you think you requested that of your daughter?
Several.
By what means? Text, calls, email?
Text.
Did she ever tell you she was going to send you Ava's Access card?
Yes, she did, and that was through text and calls.
Did she ever follow through and send you that card?
No.
Did Ava have some stomach issues while living in your home?
Yes.
How serious were those for her?
It's serious enough that she missed a week of school.
Were you able to, did you have a desire at that time to take her to a doctor?
I was wanting to, but a friend of mine who is a physician talked me through it, what to do to help her, and we were able to remedy it without going.
Because you couldn't go because you didn't have an insurance card.
I didn't have an insurance card, and however, if needed, I would have taken her.
And just paid for it out of pocket.
Correct.
But you didn't have official approval to take her to the doctor.
Correct.
While Ava was living with you, did Lacey ever send you any financial support for Ava?
No.
Did she ever send her any clothing or gifts or any items to provide for her support?
No.
How many times did Lacey visit Ava?
How many times did Lacey?
Visit Ava? Do you want me to say mother-daughter? Is that easier?
No, I just didn't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll talk louder, Judge.
One time.
And when was that?
In June, she came for Ava's birthday and Chase's birthday. On a Sunday, we had a dinner and celebrated their birthdays, and a friend of hers brought her, and she spent several hours with her children.
Since that visit in June, has Lacey visited Ava?
No.
So there was an aborted visit for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
That didn't take place. But other than that attempt, to the best of your knowledge, has Lacey made any attempts to visit Ava?
As far as I was told by Lacey, she has attempted to visit Ava, but there were too many people on the list to get transportation, and she told me that she didn't know the transportation was available to her for a while, and so she couldn't get on if she was on the list, she was too far down the list to be able to come for Christmas or whenever.
So she blamed other people for the fact that she hadn't blamed the department.
I don't know if that's blaming other people. That's just, she was, when she said she wanted to come, she had to get on the list, and she was at the bottom of the list.
Okay. And do you know whether that's true or not?
I took her for her word.
Fair enough. You're her mother. Where did Ava go live after she left your home this summer?
With Jamie Stoker, my oldest daughter, and her family.
Off in the Mesa area?
Yes.
How far away from your home?
4 minutes.
Why did Ava move from your home to Miss Stoker's home?
I'm boring. We felt she would do much better in a family situation with a mother and a father and pseudo siblings, and just be more playful and not be in the bedroom on devices and not get chastised for doing that so much, and just get her to have more movement, to play more.
Has that worked out well?
Yes.
When did that happen?
In June.
Of 2022. After her birthday.
Yes.
Thank you.
Or right around her birthday.
Yeah, I think Miss Stoker is going to give you a different date, but it was the summer. That's why I'm being vague.
Yes.
That's okay. It doesn't make much difference.
Okay.
We know for sure it was after the birthday visit, correct?
I'm not positive.
Okay. Have you stayed involved with Ava since Ava moved to Miss Stoker's?
Yes.
That's all I have. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Cross?
I just had a couple questions. Have you ever talked with Lacey about getting help for any substance use issues?
Yes.
And can you describe those conversations?
It was when, before she moved here to South, I got her to go to a couple of classes or a couple of meetings that our church provides. And she went to a couple of the weekly meetings, and it was about that time that they moved.
And this would be, I forgot what time frame that was.
October of, I'm not sure which year.
And Lacey's agreeing to go to those meetings. Was she acknowledging that she had a substance use issue?
She had acknowledged that to me and her father.
Did she ever specify what the substance was that she had a problem with, or substances?
All she told me were pills.
And since this dependency case has arisen, have you had any additional conversations with Lacey about getting some more help for substance use issues?
It's come up, but I have not really talked to her much about it because I didn't want to lose my daughter, and enough people were talking with her about it, and I just didn't want to. I still wanted to have communication with my daughter, and I wanted her to feel like she could talk to me.
Okay, so does that reflect your believing that Lacey would be upset with you or potentially stop speaking with you if you try to address with her substance use problems?
I think so.
And then the last question I had was, if if you had the Access insurance card for Ava, would you have brought her to the doctor when she was having those stomach issues and missed the week of school?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Ms. McCann, I'm assuming Ms. Argenbright is just observing. Yes, Ms. Argenbright, still?
Well, Your Honor, can I ask just a few questions?
Certainly.
Great. Thank you. Ma'am, I'm Mr. DuPont's attorney, but I haven't had contact with him. But I just wanted to ask you, is Ava currently failing in school?
No.
Was she held back?
No.
Is she on track in her grade to advance to the next grade?
Yes.
Okay. Did the stomach issues that Ava had cause any lasting harm to her?
No.
Okay. And did mother call, text, or visit with Ava on social media while Ava stayed with you?
Is Snapchat social media?
Yes, ma'am. I would think so. I'm older.
Yes.
I guess I consider that.
I'm not sure. But I know she chatted with her mother on Snapchat.
Okay. That's all the questions I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Argenbright. Ms. McCann, Cross?
Yes, Your Honor. First of all, do you know how often the mother and Ava would Snapchat?
I really don't know how often, but I'm thinking maybe it was once a week or so. But I mean, I only knew when Ava would tell me. And
Okay. Other than the Snapchat, did mother make any other attempts to communicate with Ava?
occasionally we would catch her on the phone. It seems like every time we would get in the car, Ava would try and get her on the phone, and we often did get her on the phone and talk to her.
Okay. Now, did the family, you or your daughter, anyone that you're aware of, ever try to block mother's access to Ava?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. So if mother would have called, wanted to come down, would have wanted to come and get her daughter to bring her back, the family would have been okay with that?
I don't know if we'd be okay with that. I don't think we would have any legal reason why we could keep her, because we had no jurisdiction over her. We had no guardianship.
Okay. Does the family have concerns about mother's substance use?
Yes.
What are those concerns?
That she may be on some types of drugs.
And what do you base that on?
I don't base it on anything myself. Her siblings all seem to think that she's on drugs. I myself have never seen her take drugs or have seen her with drugs. So
have you seen any behavior?
Pardon me?
I want to be careful. Pardon me. I want to be careful about what the siblings have seen. I think there is going to be a sibling testifying later, but what have you observed? Have you observed behavior that would lead you to believe that your daughter is under the influence of something?
I have seen different behavior in Lacey in the last several years, but I'm not around her that much. To me, I see a scared, anxious woman that was living with a very bad person, and a lot of the anxiety I could see. And so I'm not familiar with being around people on drugs, so I don't really know how they act. And so, no, I can't honestly say that I thought she was on drugs.
Okay. And you're alluding to Mother's relationship with Mr. DuPont, her husband, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have reason to believe that there was domestic violence in that relationship?
Yes.
Have you witnessed any incidents yourself?
No.
Okay. Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McCann. Ms. Troop, redirect.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm going to try and help you narrow down a little bit the time period where you encouraged Lacey to go and take some kind of drug classes at the church. You said that she told you and your husband that she was having some problems with pills. Is that right?
Yes.
And was
We had asked for her and Mike to take a drug test at our home.
why?
Because it was quite apparent that Mike was not what he used to be, and Lacey had shared with us that she had gotten drugs or paid for drugs for him, and I remember asking her just for him, and she said, and for her too.
Did she tell you what kind of drugs?
No.
And your husband died in October of 2020, is that correct?
Correct.
So this incident or period would have occurred prior to October of 2020.
Yes, a few years, few years probably.
How many sessions at the church did Lacey attend?
I only recall that she went to 2, maybe 3, but I think it was only 2.
Thank you, Judge. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. You may step away. Other
It
witness?
should be excused as a witness, Your Honor. I call Jamie Stoker, who's present over the phone, Judge.
Stoker?
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Stoker, would you stand and raise your right hand, please, so Madam Clerk can place you under oath? Thank you. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Okay.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth during these proceedings, so help you God, or do you do affirm?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Stoker. You may make yourself comfortable, if you will. You heard me describe to your mother we would prefer witnesses to testify, yes?
Yes.
Any questions about any of that information I shared?
No.
Okay. It's even more important when we have people on the telephone testifying to make sure that the attorneys have finished their questions before you attempt to answer. Okay?
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Troop.
Please state your name for the record.
Jamie Deborah Stoker.
What is your relationship to Lacey?
I am Lacey's sister.
How are you related to Ava and Brody?
I am their aunt.
What town do you live in, Ms. Stoker?
Mesa.
Who lives in your home?
My husband Ryan, and currently my four of my boys.
And who else lives in your home? Ava?
And Ava.
How long has Ava lived in your home?
She moved in August of 2022.
So your mom remembers June, you remember August. Do you know which is there
Yeah,
a reason why you remember August, not June?
It was August because it was after she started school, and school started at the beginning of August.
Have you offered to be a placement for Brody?
Yes.
Do you know why Brody prefers to live with the Wolframs?
He wants to be close by his mom.
What contact did you and your family have with Ava from the time Ava came to live with your mother, Cheryl, in February until she came to live in your home in August?
Ava would come and stay at my house most of the weekends, not every single weekend, but quite a bit of the weekends.
Ava move in with you before DCF got involved? So before, let me rephrase that, before DCF filed the paperwork with the court?
Yes.
So I'm going to just go ahead and take a minute and see when the formal removal took place. That was, September 27th. So has she been living in your home for over a month?
A little over a month.
Do you know whether or not Lacey was in agreement for Ava to switch homes from your mom's home to your home?
I never heard it from Lacey personally, but I did hear my mom tell me that she got the okay.
Did you have any contact with Lacey from the time that Ava moved into your home in August of 2022 until DCF took custody in September of 2022?
No, I hadn't talked to her.
And she hadn't tried to contact you as far as you know?
No.
Did she visit Ava during that period?
During this time that I had her, no.
Has she visited Ava since Ava came to move in your home?
Not since she's lived in my home.
Have you had any contact with Lacey? Emails, texts, calls?
Just a couple of texts here and there, not very many.
Did you receive any paperwork from Lacey which would give you any authority to have Ava living in your home, such as the power of attorney, a letter, guardianship paperwork?
No, I haven't.
Did you have any ability to enroll Ava in health insurance?
No.
Has Lacey sent you or Ava any money since Ava came to live with you in August?
No, she hasn't.
Has Lacey provided Ava with any support of any kind, such as sending gift cards, clothing, any items that Ava would need for herself?
No.
Did there come a time when Ava needed to see a dentist?
Yes.
When did that happen?
Right after she came to live with me. I can't remember if it was the end of August or in September.
Did you have insurance to take her to the dentist?
I do not have insurance. I did not for her.
Once DCF got involved, did they enroll Ava in Mercy Care?
Yes.
And you were able to take Ava to the dentist?
Yes.
And had she been complaining about her mouth hurting in the August-September timeframe?
Yes.
Okay. Once you took her to the dentist, what dental issues did she have, if any?
She had 7 or 8 cavities that needed to be fixed. We had to do it in 2 separate appointments. And he just had brought up that he sees this a lot with children that are excessive soda drinkers.
And do you know if Lacey had, if Ava drank a lot of soda when she was in her mother's home or when she first came to Cheryl's home?
I don't know for sure.
You drink a lot of soda in your home?
We don't drink a lot, but yes, we have soda in our home.
Do you believe that, have any reason to think that Ava's dental cavities were caused by drinking soda in your home or your mother's home?
No, this was prior.
Have you ever had any concerns about Lacey abusing illegal substances in the past?
Yes.
Did you and your family visit Lacey in Whetstone for her birthday on March 1st of 2020?
Yes, we did.
Who's we?
My mom, Cheryl, and 2 of my brothers, Ryan and Morgan.
What symptoms did you see of drug abuse by Lacey?
She just seemed very jittery. The biggest thing that I saw was she couldn't focus on like one thing. I remember we were trying to coordinate a time. We went down there to make her dinner for her birthday, and we had decided we were going to try to have it earlier in the day, and she was trying to text her friends to let them know that we were going to get together earlier, and she had such a hard time even focusing on doing that simple task of texting somebody.
Did you have concerns over the care that Lacey was taking of Brody and Ava that arose during that visit in 2020?
Yes.
What were those concerns?
The trailer that they were living in wasn't very clean. I mean, it's not up to my living, what we live in, but it just wasn't a good place for kids to be brought up, and it was behind a bar.
Buddy's bar?
Yes. And we had taken the kids for a walk when we got there, and they had mentioned that they showed us the way that they walked to the bus, and I just was so concerned because it's on a major highway, and there is a convenience store that was kind of across the highway, and they told me that they would go there a lot on their own, and that concerned me too because these are little children that are on a major highway.
Approximately were Ava and Brody at that time in 2 years ago, 2020?
10, 9 and 10, or 8 and 10.
Did you have any concerns about the children being left alone while mother worked in the bar?
I did.
Did you do anything about those concerns?
That day that we were there, we actually stopped at Buddy's bar on our way out. We sit there and talked to some of the people that had worked there, and it was the same answers that we got from some of her friends that we were just with, and the conclusion was, we are all looking out for Lacey and the children, but she needs to get out of here. That's what the conclusion was. And I remember leaving the bar, and my brother and I looked at each other, and we said, why are we leaving this place? Why are we leaving them here? And we drove straight to a police station, which now we didn't know where to go, but we actually ended up in the Benson police station. And this was a Sunday night. It was probably after 6 or 7. There was nothing really that they could do. And so we just ended up leaving because we couldn't just take the kids. We couldn't take them away. So we were just super concerned.
Were there concerns about ongoing domestic violence between Lacey and her husband, Michael, at that time as well?
Yes.
Did Lacey spend 5 or 6 days at your mother's home when your father died on October 28th or right after October 28th, 2020?
Yes.
Did Lacey show any symptoms of drug use during those days that she was at your mother's house in Mesa?
What I could tell, obviously it was a very emotional time for all of us. But when she came back for the funeral, because she was there when he died, we were all together, and the funeral was actually not until 2 more weeks after that. And when she came back for the funeral, it was also still very emotional. We had such a hard time. But what I would notice is she would go on walks, and she would be gone for a long time, like an hour or 2, and then she would just come home, and then she would just sleep. She was very tired a lot of the time. And then by the end of her stay, she just became very jittery, very fixated. She just had to get home. She had to leave. she had to go home, and I suspected that she just needed to get home to get to, get on. She was out of drugs by then.
Why did you think she had to leave because she was out of drugs?
Just the way she was acting just was so focused on trying to get home, and nothing we could do was to get her to stay or anything. And she just was like, I have to go, I have to leave.
Did she were there periods where she was not, during that 5 or 6 day stay, when she left her mother's house for several hours at a time?
I don't know. I know that she did that when she was at my house, when we were together at my house, but I don't know about my mom's house. I wasn't with them 24/7.
Okay, so tell us about when she would leave your home.
Yeah, there was a couple times she was over at my house, and she would just leave and be gone for a couple hours, go on walks, and then she said, when she came home, she would just lay down and then she would sleep, and she would just sleep for a couple hours.
Did that concern you?
It did.
Why?
Because that's not a normal behavior of really anybody. I mean, she just seemed to me that she was doing something.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Perhaps we should take our mid-morning break. Some of us have been here since 9 o'clock, a little before. Maybe we come back 10 till?
Sounds good, Judge.
Right. All right.
That's okay. She'll be a little. Yeah. I just don't think you're going to take that long. No. Another age? No. I'm not trying to get a hold of anyone.
Yeah, you want to buy one of these books for me, because I'm one of the most honored lawyers in the top 10. If you buy the book, I could see my award. And they've been bugging me for like the last year and a half. I delete every one of these Martindale Hubble.
Oh.
And I'm sure there's some plaque you can get to put up on your wall. You're one of the 50 greatest people that ever lived. Yeah, I think. I have to flex all over the place, because he would buy the who's who of this and the, it's just all over the place. When it was my first completing the bar, was new. Stopped right there, so all my, I was going to.
I don't want to ask. I have a bunch of
the one that get to say anything, I kind of don't trust it. Half of my explaining it's true, and then I can call it that ID number.
Yeah, so I'll have to
I forgot it on my first.
I do see what's that.
Intentional. But they didn't. They said they were backed up, and then he left.
I'm not aware of. I'm just joking.
And she wouldn't pay for it.
Really? I don't know.
Can't run out of coffee.
Are you on?
She fell down.
Oh, blood pressure. Oh, jeez. Yeah, so I don't want to make it muscular or anything. Oh, do you want some? No. I can hook you up. I was thinking if my attorney was even trying to